Let me ask you something. Imagine you walk into a store. You see something you want. Maybe it's a new pair of sneakers, a gadget, or a jacket you've been eyeing for weeks. The price tag says 5,000 rupees. You check your wallet, empty. You check your bank account, nothing to spare this month. Most people would walk away, right? But now imagine the salesperson leans over and says, "Don't worry, you can take it today. Just pay a small amount every month." And suddenly, the thing that felt impossible 5 minutes ago feels completely affordable. You smile, hand over a small plastic card, and walk out of the store feeling like you won. But here's what nobody told you in that moment. That small plastic card, it might be one of the most psychologically sophisticated financial traps ever designed. And the terrifying part is, it was built specifically to make you feel like you're winning, while quietly doing the opposite. Today, we're going to talk about the credit card trap, not the surface level stuff you've already heard. We're going to go deeper into the psychology, the numbers, and the hidden mechanics that keep millions of people stuck financially, often without even realizing it. Here's the common belief most people have about credit cards. I use my credit card, I get points and cash back, I pay it off at the end of the month. I'm basically getting free money. And honestly, that belief isn't crazy. Credit card companies literally advertise it that way. Rewards, cashback, air miles, exclusive lounge access, travel perks. They make it sound like the card is doing you a favor. But here's a question worth sitting with. Do you think trillion-dollar financial companies are actually handing out free money to their customers out of the kindness of their hearts? Because if the answer feels like obviously not, then we have to ask, who's really winning in this arrangement? And more importantly, why do so many intelligent, educated people still fall into the trap? The answer isn't about intelligence, it's about psychology. And once you understand it, you'll never look at a credit card the same way again. Let's start with the most powerful thing credit cards do, and it has nothing to do with interest rates or fees. It's called pain decoupling. When you pay for something with cash, your brain actually feels a small amount of psychological pain. Researchers have studied this. Brain scans show that handing over physical money activates the same regions associated with physical discomfort. It's subtle, but it's real. And that little bit of discomfort, it's actually a useful signal. It makes you pause and think, do I really need this? But when you swipe a card, that pain almost completely disappears. There's no physical exchange, no watching the money leave your hand. Just a tap, a beep, and you're done. Studies show that people consistently spend more, sometimes up to 83% more, when paying with a card versus cash. Not because they plan to, but because the friction of spending is gone. Credit card companies know this. They've always known this. That's why they've spent decades making cards faster, easier, and more seamless to use. Tap to pay, one-click checkout, autofill card details. Every single friction point removed, not for your convenience, but to keep that psychological pain signal switched off. So before we even talk about interest, before we talk about debt, your spending behavior has already been altered the moment you put a card in your wallet. Now let's talk about the numbers, because this is where it gets really serious. Say you have a credit card with a balance of 1 lakh rupees, roughly $1,000. The minimum payment required is about 2,000 rupees per month. That feels manageable, right? 2,000 a month. You can handle that. So most people pay the minimum and feel like they're being responsible. Here's what's actually happening. With a typical credit card interest rate, let's say around 36% annually, which is standard in Pakistan and many other countries, if you only pay the minimum each month, that 1 lakh rupees in debt will take you over 8 years to pay off. And by the time you're done, you'll have paid nearly 2.5 lakh rupees total, more than double the original amount. You borrowed 1 lakh. You paid back 2.5. That's not a financial product. That's a trap with a rewards program stapled to the front. And here's the psychological piece that makes this trap so effective. It's called present bias. Our brains are wired to value things that feel good right now much more than things that will hurt us later. The pleasure of buying something today is vivid and immediate. The pain of paying interest 8 years from now is abstract and distant. So our brain essentially ignores the future cost and focuses on the present reward. Credit cards are perfectly engineered to exploit this exact wiring. Now let's zoom out, because there's a bigger picture here that most people never see. Think about who credit card companies actually make money from. There are two types of credit card users. The industry actually has names for them. The first group is called transactors, people who pay their full balance every month, use the rewards, and never pay a cent in interest. The second group is called revolvers, people who carry a balance month to month and pay interest on it. Guess which group credit card companies actually profit from? The revolvers, by a massive margin. In fact, research shows that a large chunk of credit card company profits come almost entirely from people who carry balances, people who are often lower income, more financially stressed, and least able to afford the extra cost. So here's the uncomfortable insight. The cashback and rewards that feel like winning are largely funded by the interest payments of people who are struggling. The people getting the free lounge access are being subsidized by the people who can least afford it. This isn't a conspiracy, it's just the business model. But knowing this changes something. Now, let's talk about something even more subtle: the minimum payment illusion. Credit card statements are legally required to show your minimum payment, but they're not designed to highlight how long you'll be in debt if you only pay that minimum. The minimum payment number is printed large and clear. The total interest you'll pay over time? Buried in fine print, if it's there at all. That's not an accident. The minimum payment feels like a finish line. I paid my bill this month. But it's not a finish line. It's a treadmill. You're running, spending energy, feeling like you're making progress, but the destination keeps staying just as far away. And here's one more layer. There's a concept called mental accounting, the idea that our brains treat money differently depending on where it comes from or how we plan to use it. With credit cards, many people mentally categorize their credit limit as available money, not borrowed money, available money. So when someone has 50,000 rupees in their bank account and 50,000 in available credit, they psychologically feel like they have 100,000, even though half of that isn't theirs, even though using that half comes with a cost. This mental trick is one of the main reasons people spend beyond their means while genuinely believing they're fine. So where does this leave us? What do you actually do with all of this? First, and this is the most important thing, understand that the goal isn't necessarily to avoid credit cards entirely. Used correctly, with full monthly payoff, no debt carried, and no lifestyle inflation, a credit card is just a tool. It's not good or evil on its own. The danger is in how most people actually use them. So here are 3 simple shifts that change everything. Shift 1. Treat your credit card like a debit card. Only spend what you already have in your bank account. Before you swipe, ask yourself, if this were cash leaving my hand right now, would I still buy it? That one question reactivates the psychological pain that the card was designed to remove. Shift 2. Never carry a balance. Not try not to. Never. The interest on credit card debt is almost always higher than any investment return you could earn. Carrying a credit card balance while trying to build wealth is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. The math will never work in your favor. Shift 3. Understand what rewards are actually worth. That 2% cash back sounds nice, until you realize that spending psychology research shows card users consistently spend enough extra to completely wipe out the reward value and then some. You're not earning free money. You're often spending more than the reward is worth without realizing it. If you currently have credit card debt, the priority is simple. Stop adding to it. Pay more than the minimum, as much more as you possibly can, and treat getting out of that debt as the highest return investment you can make, because mathematically, it usually is. Here's the thought I want to leave you with. The credit card trap isn't a trap because people are stupid. It's a trap because it was engineered by some of the smartest people in the world to work against the exact psychological wiring we all have. Present bias, pain decoupling, mental accounting. These aren't weaknesses. They're features of the human brain that served us well for most of history. But in a world designed to monetize those features, awareness is your only real protection. The moment you understand why something feels good, why swiping feels easier than spending, why the minimum payment feels like enough, why the rewards feel like winning, you can start making decisions that aren't just emotionally satisfying but actually move you forward. Because here's the real lesson about wealth. It's rarely built through the things that feel good in the moment. It's built through the quiet, boring, unsexy choices, the ones that don't feel like much today, but compound into something remarkable over time. The credit card was designed to keep you living in the moment. Wealth is built by thinking further ahead than that. So the next time that small plastic card feels like it's doing you a favor, Pause and ask yourself whose favor it's actually doing.